Two new heroes are on their way in the Call of Dragons, and they're infantry, baby. Skogul and Goresh. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing them correctly, but I am kind of hyped to see Wilderberg getting new heroes. But in this video, we're not just talking about these two new heroes that were teased. We're also going to review the patch notes that briefly appeared in-game and then disappeared. And thankfully, I've got a few pictures of these, so let's get reviewing. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and thankfully, my Alliance member Twisted Fox took some pictures of the update note that went out, but I believe was recalled. Now, I'm not entirely sure why it was recalled, but if I just look at the date on this update note, it says 11/15 is when the patch was going to go in. So if I had to guess, maybe these notes were accidentally released early, but I don't actually know why they were distributed and recalled. So keep in mind that some of what's here very well could change. So this picture I know is a little fuzzy. The rest are not fuzzy. So my apologies for that. And let's just get going here. So up first, and this is a huge patch note, by the way, Season 2 Hearts of Ice. So it's Season 2 plus Hearts of Ice is coming. After completing Season 2, players will begin a whole new season filled with new surprises and challenges. The terrain of Belleron has changed, making exploring the land even more exciting. Now, I don't know what would make it more exciting, maybe more rewards. In general, I feel like scouting is a tedious task. The terrain of Belleron has changed, making it more exciting. The mysterious spires have appeared across the land. Spires are powerful, ancient defensive structures scattered across the realm, which can help occupiers launch devastating attacks against enemies in their territory. So this is kind of a weird one, and I'll read the next bullet because it's directly related. You can also now build turrets. Turrets will automatically attack enemies within range. I've got weird feelings about your ability to create a defensive position within this game that is just unapproachably difficult to assault. It was already really difficult to hit a position that is fortified, but adding mysterious spires and turrets could make it just impossible to break a defensive position, and I'm not sure that adds a good twist to the game, but I suppose we'll see what that's like and experience it. I generally think it's unfun to be taking sev wounds from a turret. My 2 cents there. Policy systems have also been carefully redesigned to provide greater strategic depth. This one could be cool. The thing about, I would say, the policy system is that, you know, look, you're either spending gems every season or you're basically behind until you get to kind of the mid to late part in the season, and then everybody's kind of caught up with each other. So I wonder what this strategic depth is ultimately going to be. Is it for rallying and garrisoning specifically? Hopefully we don't have to specialize. I can say in Rise of Kingdoms, they've added, I think, customization that is season specific that has been really cool. So I think the policy system could actually lead to some really cool changes, and the developers of the predecessor to this game, right, that's Rise of Kingdoms, have done this in a way that was exciting. So ultimately, I'm optimistic about what that could be, all right? So if we get to the next section here, a new and smoother route to prosperity, 2 new legendary heroes, as promised at the start. Skogul, the infantry PvP tank, and Goresh, the infantry rally precision. Precision is a weird one. This would imply normal attack synergy or a counterattack synergy. Skogul can be recruited from the Lucky Spins. So the Lucky Spins means this is the easier to work on hero. This hero, Skogul, is infantry, PvP, and tank. That is, I think, the same as Madeline, by the way. And the Wheel of Destiny is also where you can get them. Goresh is also available from the Wheel of Destiny. So at the start of the season, everybody can get them. And the way you really work on them is if you're a whale and you go for Strongest Lord. And Goresh is infantry rally. So an infantry rally should counter the current garrison meta that we have. And like, oh my God, garrisoning with Theodore is dumb. It is busted strong. So like, yeah, we needed a way to break that up. Infantry counters cavalry. There's no good infantry rally to deal with the cavalry currently. And so here we are getting an infantry rally. Now, what do I expect that these heroes ultimately will do? So I'm not entirely sure. if maybe I'm reading into this too much, but if we look at the Wilderberg infantry we have now, that's Bakar, he's all about bleeding and skill damage. So I would bet you that Skogul and also Goresh probably fall into that same category of bleeding and skill damage. Madeline, League of Order, is about shielding, okay? That's also true of Eliana. She's about shielding. If we look at, Spring Wardens, you've got Garwood, and he's about healing. I think Spring Warden tanks are probably going to be about healing. I think that Wilderberg tanks are probably going to be about damage over time. And, I think that League of Order is going to be about shielding. That's my guess if I had to specialize here. So, and I think that the precision tree signals to me that hero is going to be a normal attack or counter attack or both hero. That's my guess. The rally tree obviously will mean that one of the skills on Skogul is related to hitting a garrison, right? Like when leading a rally attack against a stronghold or city is probably what that's going to say. Probably the second skill, maybe the third skill. Very uncommon, it would be the fourth skill, for whatever that's worth. So that's my prediction here. I will be working on these heroes very early in the season. I probably will, I don't know, depending on what the rally hero does, I may actually just max them. I'm into infantry. I'm an infantry simp in every game I play. New legendary artifact, the Spiritbone Torc, infantry PvP control. Here's my thought on this one. This ought to be good at rallying. It really ought to be good for rallying, but I bet you it will not be. So it's going to be available from the Artifact Compendium in the Forge of Light and the Riches of the Forest. So you could get it maybe at the start of the season from Riches of the Forest, but realistically, Forge of Light is really the way. That's the way that you get this. Hands down. It's the best way. Now, that said, the reason I think this is not going to be a rally-related artifact, first of all, it doesn't say rally, but second of all, the thing that we've seen is we got Sindrian and Freygar. There's a rally, okay, and an open fielder, and they made the artifact for the open fielder, the Freygar. The thing that, everybody is more likely to be working on is that hero, Freygar, rather than Sindrian, who's more difficult to get. The same was true of Theodore and also Ferondale. You got Ferondale, who is the fielder, very much designed, in my opinion, to be a pure fielder, and that's who the artifact was for. So here we are again, and this is infantry PvP control. It doesn't mention rallying. I would bet you money that this goes on the fielder, and that is going to be Skogul, who's available on the Lucky Spins. That's my guess. What's it going to do? I don't know. Honestly, Greymar's Warhammer kind of does everything I want in life from an infantry artifact. Big damage, big stun. It's cool, but realistically, the thing you need is tankiness. Maybe they'll do something with a bleed synergy. If they're really... But Spiritbone Torc doesn't sound like a bleed synergy thing. It sounds like you're summoning the spirits of your ancestors to do something cool. It's like a talisman of some kind. Honestly, it sounds like something you put on a shaman more than you put on a warrior. But I just maybe don't know what a Torc is. Maybe that's some sort of special blade or piece of armor. Whatever, let's move on to the next thing here. There's a new beast, the Night Rock. The Night Rock haunts the shadows, waiting for the right time to strike. You can fight it and purify it to make it your war pet. Let's freaking go. So what will the Night Rock ultimately do? There are several things that this could be. First of all, it could be a new pet that pairs with the new heroes. And that seems like a really straightforward development pattern that it's hey, you get new heroes and a pet that goes with them. Seems extremely logical to me if they would do that. If they aren't doing that, then it is possible that they're looking to heroes that don't really have a great pet synergy. When you look at Nico and Kanara and the Snow Peak Rock, the synergy is beyond obvious, right? You look at the Frostbear and Madeline, it's obvious. You're supposed to put them together. We don't really have anything like that for Sindrian, for example. So it is possible that we see a look back to heroes we already have that don't have a great fit. So those are the sort of two pathways the developers could take. They look at previous heroes and they say, let's give them something cool. Or they just always look forward and they're like, hey, we drop new heroes, we give them a pet. And I think it's really important that they have a pet because, look, Sindri and Freygar is supposed to be the rally, but like there's like not a great rally artifact for that other than I guess the Bloodblade banner, which I generally think is unimpressive. And there's not really even a pet for it. So I think now we're in the world where we have to look at the synergy of hero plus pet plus artifact and what's that going to look like, okay? So from here, new wonder. The Mines of Kalon, the largest mine in the Dwarven Kingdom and the battlefield of the War of the Last Snows. Uncover its story now. So new wonders, I mean, they look cool. Do they do anything other than look cool? I'm not sure. Dragon Trail improvements. Reduce the difficulty of stages 61 to 80 in Season 1. That is a big deal. They're also renaming the currency from Dragon Glass to Trail Coins. I think that's like more intuitive. It's the Dragon Trail, you get Trail Coins. They adjusted the hero experience gain for completing the Dragon Trail in Season 1. Okay. The Dragon Trail no longer grants prestige. This is a big deal. I really disliked the Dragon Trail system as the main vehicle for prestige. It, in my opinion, wrecks non-whales, and they're changing it. Now you can gain prestige by defeating Darklings and Dark Creatures, and by donating to Alliance Tech, and by purchasing it from the Merit Store. 10 out of 10. That is a great change. That levels the playing field with pay to win and free to play. That seems extremely good to me. The only thing that's not quite leveled is the Merit Store, but like, I don't know. This is still way better in my opinion. The quick loot feature has also been removed from the Dragon Trail. Warpet gameplay improvements. Yo, there's a lot of things we could talk about for Warpets. Like this could be a 30-minute video about Warpet improvements. Like for example, I think a very obvious Warpet change. They're not doing this. I'm just saying this seems to me like beyond obvious they should do this, is that they should take the talent skill and just make it a part of what the pet does. Done. It should be automatic. Every time you catch a pet, it does that thing. And maybe it could be 1 star, 2 star, 0 star, whatever, but like the pet should have that skill inherently. It should not be a part of the skills that can be replaced, unintentionally, intentionally transferred or whatever. It's like the pet does that thing. That's a part of what the pet does. That's how I would change Warpets. Just off rip, easy choice. Besides the fact that like picking where your skills go and all these other things that we know we want. So what are they doing? Change the amount of experience needed to level up your Warpet from level 53 to 60, making the process easier. I'm going to be real with you. I mean, like, I don't mind a little bit of grind. That's the kind of grind I actually don't mind at all. So this particular change, I mean, it makes it easier to get more Warpets and work on them, but I like genuinely hope that we're not constantly cycling out our Warpets anyways. So honestly, like, given that Warpets don't reset their level, at least, I mean, they didn't in the last season, and they start resetting level on those. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Actually, I'll tell you, I'm not going to feel good. But as long as you don't have to re-level them, I don't know, whatever. You can level up pets faster. In addition, they improved the Warpet skill descriptions. They now show numerical values for skills after factoring in the attributes and buffs from other skills. I think this is cool. I mean, the pet system players have said is very convoluted and difficult to understand. So making it simpler, I think, is a win. Like for someone like me who spends, 8 hours a day playing the game, like, okay, like I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to explain it to you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I aspire to explain these things to you. But like, I can see why they wouldn't want to simplify that. Added a new feature to quickly unlock Warpet skill slots. So this is a big deal. Tap a locked skill slot and spend skill cards with lower star ratings to quickly and conveniently unlock the slot. Now, this is extremely meaningful. Why is that? When you have a pet that has skill slots on it, when you try to apply a skill today, it will go to either one of the slots that has a skill or one slot that doesn't. So if you have like one slot with a skill and 7 that don't, I think your chances of landing on the new skill slot are the same if you have 1 skill slot free or you have 6 skill slots free or 7 skill slots free. Like, it doesn't matter. So what I'm trying to say is that making it easier to just unlock all the slots and then go in and deploy the skills you really care about is a big deal. Like right now, the correct thing to do, and I covered this in a video ages ago, is that you go in and you just use a 40 cost skill over and over and over and over until you unlock all the skill slots. Then you deploy the skills you really care about and you get better odds of having a nice distribution of your skills rather than spending a true fortune like on expensive skills trying to unlock new slots. Okay. So it sounds like they're starting to address the weirdness of the design of full RNG for where your skills go. I'm going to be real with you. As a player, I don't know how you unwind the full RNG situation, but moving away from that would be the biggest win for pets that you could possibly lock in. Moving away from random skill assignment and toward like, hey, I get to actually design my pet. Okay, change the Augur Stone rules for strongest war pet. When the stage ends, your chances of finding higher rarity war pets will increase. Get ready to beef up your pet collection. Good. You know, look, I said in a previous video, and I'll have a card in the end screen, I think one of the best changes the developers could do is to have a global level for all the Darklings, Dark Creatures, and Pets, and everything is the highest level, and it all levels up throughout the season. My 2 cents. Walking in this game and spending a lot of time doing that is not adding value to my experience with the game. Okay? Note, War Pet skill cards will now be temporarily stored in the mail system for 7 days, previously 1 day. That is great. Honestly, like 1 day is like, bro, like I am sitting on these cards and I like have these cards I want to hold and I don't want to deploy them all right now. But if I don't deploy them right now, they're taking up all this storage space. And like some of them, in fact, a lot of the ones I'm holding are only available from catching. So you can't get them easily. It's like, bro, 7 days in the mail is nice. PvE improvements. After reaching level 50, heroes will now gain experience for defeating Darklings and Dark Creatures, allowing you to level up your heroes more quickly. I honestly don't know why they made the initial change they did, where you could only level heroes from PvP. Like, it seemed like a fat pay-to-win change that doesn't broadly benefit the player base, unless you're a pay-to-win, and, like, they're changing it now so you can level again outside of PvP. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a very good thing. Great change. I'm okay with testing things as long as when we see that they aren't working, we change them back, right? That's one of those things. Rewards for defeating Darklings and Dark Creatures are now the same, which is a little weird. So before you could like hunt what you really wanted or needed. Now, I don't know how that's going to work. When multiple players work together to defeat Darklings and Dark Creatures, all players receive the full amount of experience. It always should have worked this way. Every single thing the developers do in this game, they should look at community. They should say, how does this make the community of the game more fun? At literally every feature of the game should say they should ask themselves, how does this make the community better? And like splitting experience was a disaster for community. This is a great change. People can now hunt Darklings together. They have reason to be together, do things together. That's a huge win. Change hero experience and arcane dust rewards for defeating Darklings and treasure guards and destroying Darkling forts during Season 1. Ooh, let's see the next page of this. Defeating Darklings and destroying Darkling forts will now also grant prestige. Aha. So this is where you're getting your prestige. So your CP is just going to matter a lot, which I think is a good thing. Like, hey, I don't think that's bad. You should, be rewarded for being active in the season and spending your CP. Other improvements. Significantly reduced experience requirements to level up heroes in Season 1. They reduce the difficulty of defeating Darklings, Dark Creatures, Beasts, and Treasure Guards at certain levels during Season 1. Change the hero experience reward for Eliana's Crisis event in Season 1. They don't say if that's better or worse, but okay. Season stories now grant large amounts of prestige. So we have to do the season story now as fast as we can. Adjusted the cost of policies during Season 1. Overall cost has not changed, however, and they reduced the time requirements for enacting certain policies. If time requirements are going down, that seems fine to me. Let's get a look at the combat experience changes. Rallied army improvements, improved UI visibility and convenience. When a legion launches a normal attack against your rallied army, it will launch a counterattack, but will not attack any surrounding legions. If the legion ceases its attack or is defeated, your rallied army will also cease to attack and continue marching to its destination. So, look. I said in a previous video that the most toxic thing to the enjoyability of field fighting in this game was the way that rallies would defend themselves. Originally, rallies did not defend themselves, and I was like, that's dumb. The rally should defend itself. Then they made it so rallies defended themselves, and I was like, wow, this is so bad. It's like the worst possible change to the open field of this game I could have ever imagined. I don't even want to field fight anymore. It's so miserable. And I can actually swarm the rallies, right? And I'm like, this makes the game really miserable to field fight. So now they're removing it. And that anyone who thinks that this was good for the game doesn't understand the game at all. Like, look, this is all about community. Okay, the game is a community game. The community situation that rallies defending themselves created was one in which if you're in voice with your team, or even if you're not, you get frustrated with your teammates who were being dumb and attacking the rally, or were getting tricked into attacking the rally. And there are literally like 100 ways you could trick someone into attacking the rally. Don't even get me started on how infuriating that was. So this made open field unfun. And it made it unfun for everyone. All that you had to have is one person AFK with a mage on the front line, and they could ruin it for everybody. So like, this had to change, and it's good they changed this. I don't know what the real answer should be. Like, rallies shouldn't be completely dumb, but also rallies shouldn't ruin the game. Like, look, the way that this worked is that you would rally like Darkling Forts and Elianas, and that was the whole game. The whole game. It was no longer about open field. The literal whole open field game. The whole game was about setting a rally and on a Darkling Fort that happened to be in the direction of your enemies, and you hope your enemy is dumb or AFK enough to get tricked into attacking it. That was so toxic for the game. I honestly think it was an exploit, and people were exploiting the hell out of that. And you almost had no choice. You either use it or you lose to it. Certainly our enemies exploited the ever-living hell out of that. And like, you had to, or you use it or you lose to it. And so I think that had to change. So good change. What should rallies do though? I still scratch my head to say like, yeah, I mean, they should still kind of go to where they're trying to go. Like, I don't know what the answer is. Stronghold changes. In order to provide a more tactical combat experience, archer towers are no longer counted as strongholds. What's an archer tower? Wait a minute. Should I know what that is? I actually have no clue what that is. Drop a comment down below. Combat improvements. After casting the artifact skill for Oath of the Stormpeak, Wolfwoman of Healer, and Storm Arrows, your Legion will carry on with its previous action. You no longer have to reissue previous commands. You may have heard me say previously that these artifacts, specifically Wolfwoman and Storm Arrows, were basically unusable because you're trying to go somewhere or do something, and then you use it, and then your Legion stops. And it's like, what's the effing point of using the artifact? Like, anything you gained, you just lost because your unit stops until you reissue a command. So this is really awesome. Love this change. If your Legion is stunned or airborne while fighting dark creatures and behemoths, it will carry on with its previous action when the effect ends. Dude, thank goodness. You no longer have to reissue commands. Very good. More accessible map. Terrain improvements. Improved low-lying areas in the sandstone cliffs. Your Legion will no longer enter low-lying areas where dark chests are stored. Wait a minute. What's this about? Oh, they'll no longer accidentally enter these low-lying areas where dark chests are stored and come under attack from the treasure guards. All right. Season 2 Truce Zone. A Truce Zone where combat is forbidden has been added to the Season 2 map. If you do not wish to fight other players, you can leave Belleron and move to the Truce Zone. I'm not sure this really solves the problem entirely, but this does address the issue, sort of starting zones getting invaded. Like, at least now you have a place to go. I still feel like you need to fully address the ability to, like, scumbag your way into somebody's starting zone and be like, give me your shell, I give you rewards, right? Like, I think that whole thing is just beyond scummy. So I also think that if starting zones aren't, like, power balanced, we really are, like, haven't entered the starting line for setting up a season to be really, really fun for everybody. Fun only happens if players make an even distribution of the teams in the current, like, throw everyone on the map and hope for the best methodology. So let's see what else the notes say and see if this is covered. Changes to trolls and beasts. Trolls will only appear as treasure guards and behemoth acolytes. Reduce the respawn rate of trolls on the map and significantly increase the respawn rate of beasts. Yeah, so, like, the thing is that although the trolls were cool, if your option is to either have a troll on the map, which gives the same rewards as a beast but can't be captured, or a beast, like, obviously the beasts are better. And today, like, I spend an hour a day looking for the beast I want. It's too much time. It's way too much time every single day just to find the beast that I want. If I stop caring about what beast I want, obviously it would go a lot faster, but then I'm not progressing my account properly. And, like, the developers, in my opinion, need to look at, if you optimize your account, how long are you actually having to spend? And, like, is that really the amount of time we want someone to be spending? Search feature improvements. Remove the ability to search for dark creatures in order to improve the efficiency of the search feature. Right, because dark creatures don't exist anymore. Not on the map anyways, right? Like, It's just going to be beasts. Added the ability to filter while searching for treasure guards. You can now search for rarity. That's cool. I mean, yeah, that's cool. That's definitely cool. Because at the end of the day, I'm never going for the lower rarity. I'm only ever going for the highest rarity, right? Easy. Dude, I told you this patch note was massive. This is insane. Exciting seasonal content. Season 2 reset adjustments. When the new season begins, if your hero is under level 30, their level will not change. If they're above level 30, they're set to level 30. That's cool. So basically get all your heroes, literally every hero, to level 30 plus. That way they do not, well, I mean, because that experience carries over, right? Artifact levels will not be reset. Thank God. An arcane dust will not be scrapped. So at the end of a season, you should be doing 2 things. 1, leveling up your pets. 2, leveling up your artifacts and accumulating dust. Like, I'm going to save up dust so I can max dust a new artifact in the new season. Obviously, right? Obviously. Dragon Trail challenge difficulty will no longer be reset. More stages will be unlocked as the season progresses. Great. Dragon Trail reset was tedious. I don't think anybody was particularly enjoying regrinding the same thing season over season. Like, not 80 levels of it anyways. Higher level enemies. After season 2 begins, higher level darklings, dark creatures, and dark forts will appear, providing you with greater challenge and greater rewards. Brilliant. Other improvements. Season 2 policy system adjustments. Resource production buff policies have been removed, and policies that reduce the cost of healing have been added. This is going to be interesting to see, like, if they try to make resource healing more viable. They do this in Rise of Kingdoms, where they reduce the resource cost of healing every season by like 25% or so. But like, resource healing is too expensive in this game. Like, it's way too expensive. And there's not a great way to get mana other than like buy it or gather it. Which is the same for like any resource, I guess. But like, it's too much. You don't have the resources to train troops and also heal troops without just spending an inordinate amount of money. So I think that the developers should move in the direction of resource healing plus free healing being more viable. Like, players should feel like they're doing more of a blend of these things, in my opinion, rather than like, I'm just going to free heal, which is my stance mostly at this point. Anytime I would resource heal, I would be better off training new troops and getting more free healing boosts. And like, that's where I'm at for I don't know, another 200 million power worth of troops, probably, right? So that's not going to change for me for quite some time. Affiliated region pre-selection. Alliance leaders may select their alliance members who affiliated region in advance at the end of the season. Alliances who've selected their affiliated region in advance will not be disbanded when the new season begins. So that's kind of interesting. So, I was very critical of the fact that like this game should be about community, but every season they literally destroy your community and you have to restart it with a new shell every time you enter a new season. They literally destroy the community and they're like, build a new one. So this is way better that they don't disband the alliance. To me, this feels obvious. So that might mean that the member capacity is like 150 out of 80 at the start of the season. I don't know how they're going to solve member capacity, but they are changing the policies. So maybe they're, oh no, that's alliance research for member capacity. Yeah, I don't know. So it could be that like you really better be in your alliance and you can't shift around for quite some time. I don't know that I love that, but it's way better than what we have today, which is, oh, your community, delete it. Good luck. Build a new one. Good. This is a good change. Might be a few more things in here, but that's all the pictures I have of the update note for now. And already this video is like 30 minutes long. If you've enjoyed my review of the upcoming Season 2 Plus in Call of Dragons, consider subscribing to the channel. Those changes, according to the note, go in 11/15, which is like a couple weeks from the time of this recording. I think that truly to get to the starting line for a balanced seasonal experience, it's critical that, in my opinion, the developers balance the starting zones. I think you cannot count on players to do that. In fact, you can count on players to behave selfishly and purely in their best interest and to stack things in their favor and pretend like they've made it balanced. Not like I've fought against anyone who's done that in the past. And I think that the developers need to make the things balanced, right? Balance the starting zones and you will get the map's great for it. The map is amazing for it. The map was designed for balanced starting zones. And I think that if the developers don't force that, I think it's not going to happen. There's obviously downsides to the developers determining like what fair matchmaking ultimately is, which is that like players can only adjust so much. But I think that it would be a net positive for the game, for sure. And then players try to solve that problem with who or what zone they ultimately ally with, right? I think that's like, because, hey, look, if you have 4 starting zones, you better believe there's going to be a 2v2 situation. It's like, feels to me obvious. And maybe sometimes a 3v1, maybe. But I suspect that 2v2 is what happens almost every time. If you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to see what I think needs to happen to this game to make it more fun, and to have this game reach its full potential, I'll have a card in the end screen in just a second. Hope you'll check it out, and until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.